Introduction, a secret hidden for thousands of years. Imagine a quiet early morning. You wake up as soft sunlight filters through the window. In your hands is an ancient book, its pages yellowed by time, covered in dust, as if it had been buried for centuries. You carefully open it, and before your eyes appear powerful words that hold the essence of Jesus Christ's teachings. But strangely, the author of these teachings is not one of the 12 apostles we often hear about. It is a woman who played a crucial role in the foundation of Christianity, yet her name has been forgotten, distorted, and falsely accused for thousands of years. That woman is Mary Magdalene, one of the most mysterious, most controversial, and yet most significant figures in Christian history. Mary Magdalene, the most misunderstood woman in history. For centuries, Mary Magdalene has been shrouded in misconceptions and false narratives, turning her from a devoted disciple of Jesus Christ into a woman labeled as sinful. There are many debates surrounding her image. Some believe she was Jesus's most faithful disciple, a woman of great wisdom who held spiritual secrets that few could comprehend. But others claim she was merely a secondary character in Jesus' story, even falsely labeling her as a prostitute. But what is the truth? Who was Mary Magdalene really? What role did she play in Jesus' teachings? And why has she been hidden from mainstream history? Mary Magdalene's story is not just about a woman in Christian history. It is a story of power, manipulation, and how revolutionary ideas can be buried and erased from history. So, who was Mary Magdalene? What is the real truth about her? Stay with us until the end of this video to gain a more accurate, honest, and objective perspective on the woman who stood beside Jesus Christ at the most pivotal moments of his life. Mary Magdalene, the forgotten woman in Christian history. Mary Magdalene, an important disciple but forgotten. Was Mary Magdalene truly just a secondary character in the story of Jesus? Or was she one of the most important figures, deliberately erased from history? Why does she appear more than any other woman in the 4 canonical Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? And why, despite being the first to witness Jesus' resurrection, was her role overshadowed? Was Mary Magdalene once a key disciple whose presence was later diminished? Or was the truth about her altered to fit a particular narrative? The hidden story, who changed history? Let's go back to the moment when Jesus was crucified. After his death, his disciples faced a world in turmoil. They had lost their teacher, their leader, and their hopes seemed shattered. In this darkest hour, who stood firm and continued to uphold the faith? According to many accounts, Mary Magdalene was the one who encouraged and comforted the remaining disciples. She did not disappear or succumb to fear. She remained steadfast in her belief in Jesus' teachings. But what is truly surprising is that, in the centuries that followed, Mary Magdalene's image was systematically altered. She was no longer recognized as an important disciple. Instead, another narrative emerged, one that painted her as a sinful woman. Why was Mary Magdalene's image changed? Was this transformation merely a historical misunderstanding? Or was it a deliberate effort by those in power within the early church? Consider the social context of that time. Early Christianity was not just a spiritual movement. It was also a force that challenged traditional power structures. However, in that era, authority was dominated by men, and women's roles were often minimized. When Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire under Emperor Constantine, male church leaders began reshaping Christian ideology, gradually diminishing the role of women. If Mary Magdalene had been recognized as one of Jesus' most significant disciples, it might have sparked a revolution in the role of women in the church, something that many male leaders of the time may not have wanted. Mary Magdalene, the keeper of Christianity's greatest secret. What if Mary Magdalene was not just an important figure, but held a crucial secret about Jesus' teachings? Could she have received special wisdom that other disciples did not? And if so, what were those teachings about? These questions lead us to a controversial and mysterious yet fascinating topic: the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, a lost text labeled as heretical, but one that might contain some of the most profound truths about Christianity. Who was Mary Magdalene? Was she truly one of Jesus' most vital disciples? And what led to her being forgotten? Stay with us as we uncover the answers. The Gospel of Mary, a lost text and its true meaning. If Mary Magdalene played such an important role in Jesus' life, why don't we see a gospel bearing her name in the official Bible? Was the Gospel of Mary once recognized, but later erased? Or was it never allowed to be included in the first place? If this text truly existed, what secrets did it contain that the Church didn't want people to know? Why was the Gospel of Mary removed? We all know that the Bible we have today is not the original version. Over centuries, it has undergone numerous edits, revisions, and omissions. One of the most critical periods was the 4th century, when Emperor Constantine legalized Christianity and made it the official religion of the Roman Empire. But this legalization didn't just aim to protect faith. It came with a large-scale purge, where texts that didn't align with the Church's ideology were erased, labeled as heresy, and in some cases, even burned. So what exactly did the Gospel of Mary say that made it such a threat that it had to be removed? The teachings of the Gospel of Mary, a challenge to male authority. One of the key reasons why the Gospel of Mary was suppressed likely lies in its content. This text doesn't just recount Jesus' life, it contains revolutionary teachings. In the Gospel of Mary, Jesus directly imparts spiritual lessons to Mary Magdalene. And the most striking part, these teachings suggest that Mary Magdalene had deeper spiritual insights than the male apostles. This could have been seen as a threat to the male leaders of the early church. If Jesus chose Mary Magdalene to receive his most profound teachings, it would mean that women's roles in the church needed to be recognized. But if that happened, the male-dominated social structure would be completely disrupted. As a result, the Gospel of Mary was removed, and Mary Magdalene's reputation was distorted to diminish her influence. The core teachings of the Gospel of Mary, truths nobody told you. So if you had the chance to read the Gospel of Mary, what would you find? 1. Heaven is within us, not through religious institutions. 2. Jesus saw Mary Magdalene as a trusted disciple, not a sinner. 3. Love and spiritual awakening are the keys to ending suffering. The truth about the Gospel of Mary. Why have we never heard of it? If the Gospel of Mary contains such powerful and transformative teachings, why have most people never heard of it? Have those in power deliberately hidden it? Or have we only been taught a carefully curated version of the truth? Stay with us as we uncover more about the mystery of Mary Magdalene and what she truly left behind for the world. The conflict between Mary and the apostles. A story of power. In Christian history, debates about doctrine weren't just about the content of Jesus' teachings, but also about who had the authority to interpret and spread those teachings. One of the most controversial aspects of the Gospel of Mary is the conflict between Mary Magdalene and the Apostle Peter. This raises an important question. Was this conflict real or just a later interpretation? What does it reveal about power in the early church? And can science help us uncover the truth? Peter, the symbol of church authority. In the Gospel of Mary, there is a passage where Peter expresses dissatisfaction upon hearing Mary Magdalene recount the teachings Jesus had given her privately. He questions, "How could the teacher have spoken these things to a woman and not to us?" This statement reveals a deep conflict between traditional authority and revolutionary ideas. Peter represents an institutionalized church where power is given to those deemed worthy. Meanwhile, Mary Magdalene represents a more personal and direct approach to spirituality, one that challenges institutional structures. Was this conflict real? Scientific and historical evidence. Modern scholars have examined the Gospel of Mary using several scientific methods, including textual analysis. Linguists have compared the Gospel of Mary to other texts from the same period, such as the Gospel of Philip and the Gospel of Thomas. They found strong similarities, suggesting it is not a later fabrication, but may have originated from actual teachings of Jesus' time. Archaeological findings. Other ancient texts, such as the Nag Hammadi scriptures, discovered in 1945, also mention Mary Magdalene's significant role. This suggests there was an early theological tradition that elevated her status, but it was later suppressed. Historical manipulation. Many historians argue that during the early church, writings that supported women's roles were removed to align with a male-dominated ecclesiastical system. A 2018 study from Harvard Divinity School even found evidence that some ancient texts were deliberately altered to diminish the influence of female figures like Mary Magdalene. What does the conflict between Peter and Mary Magdalene reveal? From a sociological perspective, this conflict represents a common pattern in history. When a new idea emerges, it often clashes with those in power. Revolutionary thinkers are usually opposed by traditionalists because they threaten the existing order. Progressive individuals are often silenced or misrepresented, just as Mary Magdalene was in early Christianity. So, if Jesus truly entrusted Mary Magdalene with profound spiritual wisdom, why did the other apostles reject it? Was it because she was a woman, and that challenged the power structure of the early church? And if Jesus truly saw Mary Magdalene as a worthy disciple, what have we missed for thousands of years? Stay with us as we uncover more hidden truths about Mary Magdalene. Folktale and lessons from Mary Magdalene. Throughout history, those who hold profound knowledge and revolutionary ideas are often overlooked, misrepresented, or even persecuted. This pattern is not only true for Mary Magdalene, but can also be found in many cultures and folktales worldwide. One famous folktale that mirrors the fate of Mary Magdalene is the story of the woman who held the king's secret. Though this story is not directly related to Christianity, it carries a powerful message about how those with special insight are often dismissed by traditional power structures. The story of the woman who held the king's secret. In a distant kingdom, a mighty king was respected by all his people. One day, he received a mysterious prophecy from a wise sage, predicting that his kingdom would collapse unless a specific solution was found. However, the prophecy was cryptic, and none of the court advisors could decipher its meaning, except for a woman of humble status, disregarded by society. When this woman offered her interpretation, instead of listening, the king's advisors ridiculed and distorted her words. They convinced the king that she was a liar and unworthy of speaking about the fate of the kingdom. The king, trusting his advisors, banished the woman from the palace, leaving her to live in poverty. Years later, the prophecy came true. The kingdom fell into chaos, and the king realized that he had lost the only person who could have saved it. But by then, it was too late. Mary Magdalene, the forgotten keeper of spiritual truth. This story strongly resembles the fate of Mary Magdalene in Christian history. Mary Magdalene may have held some of Jesus' most profound teachings, yet instead of being acknowledged, she was marginalized, misrepresented, and erased from history. The early church leaders may have seen her as a threat to their authority, so they intentionally excluded her story from the official canon. Like the woman in the folktale, Mary Magdalene may have been dismissed simply because she was a woman, even though she held great knowledge. Are we still ignoring the truth? Looking at history, it's clear that those who bring new truths and progressive ideas are often dismissed, opposed, or even erased. This raises an important question. Are we still making the same mistakes as in folklore and history, ignoring crucial truths just because they don't fit our existing beliefs? Lessons from Mary Magdalene. Are we missing the truth? Question what you've been taught. Listen to forgotten voices. Don't let fear stop you from seeking truth. Mary Magdalene may have been forgotten by history, but her lessons remain. Are we ready to embrace them? Lessons learned. What Mary Magdalene teaches us about faith and truth. Mary Magdalene is not just a historical figure. She is a symbol of the search for truth, courage, and spiritual awakening. Her story is a powerful reminder that truth can be hidden, but it can never be completely erased. Through her, Christians can learn valuable lessons about faith, justice, and the true meaning of spirituality. For centuries, Mary Magdalene's image was distorted, and her contributions to Jesus' teachings were forgotten. But today, as more research and discoveries emerge, we have the opportunity to see her with fresh eyes and a more objective understanding. Mary Magdalene's story offers valuable lessons not just for Catholics, but for spiritual seekers in general. Her journey challenges us to confront prejudice, pursue spiritual awakening, and understand that truth, no matter how revolutionary, is often opposed. Here are 3 key lessons from her life and the teachings attributed to her, especially in the Gospel of Mary. 1. Don't let prejudices blind you from the truth. Throughout history, many have faced ridicule or suppression for presenting ideas that challenge the status quo, and Mary Magdalene was no exception. Despite her deep spiritual knowledge and closeness to Jesus, she faced rejection from the male apostles who doubted her insights and authority. In fact, the early church is said to have removed the Gospel of Mary because its teachings, which highlighted Mary's spiritual wisdom, threatened the patriarchal power structures within the church. This historical pattern shows how society can distort and suppress ideas that challenge existing power structures. Today, it serves as a reminder that those in positions of power may manipulate history to preserve their authority. For Catholics and spiritual seekers, this story is a call to not blindly accept everything we're taught. Instead, we must question, explore, and seek the truth on our own. Our faith should not be limited to following established traditions or the teachings handed down by authority figures. It should involve personal discovery and critical thinking, examining the deeper meanings of faith and questioning what we are told. 2. Seek spiritual awakening from within. One of the most profound messages from the Gospel of Mary is that heaven is not somewhere far away. It is within you. This teaching directs us to look within ourselves for divine connection and spiritual awakening, instead of seeking it externally through rituals or intermediaries. For many Catholics, the idea of faith and salvation often involves rituals, prayers, and going to church. However, Mary's teachings suggest that true spirituality goes beyond these external practices. It calls for a personal relationship with God and an internal transformation that happens through reflection, self-awareness, and spiritual practice. Spiritual awakening is not something that comes from following prescribed rituals, but from an honest, intimate connection with the divine. Catholics can learn from Mary Magdalene's example by understanding that the kingdom of God is within each of us. When we turn inward, we can begin to transform ourselves spiritually and experience a deeper connection with the divine presence that is already within us. This is a key component in the pursuit of enlightenment and inner peace. 3. Truth is always challenged, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. History is full of individuals who introduced revolutionary ideas only to be persecuted for it. Jesus, for example, was opposed by religious leaders for challenging Jewish traditions. Galileo Galilei faced condemnation from the church for asserting that the earth orbits the sun. Yet both of these men were right, despite the resistance they faced. Mary Magdalene, too, was unjustly labeled a prostitute, when in reality, she was one of Jesus's most trusted disciples and a bearer of profound spiritual truths. This pattern of persecution is not unique to the religious world. It extends to all areas of life. Whenever someone challenges widely accepted beliefs or proposes something new, they often face resistance, whether in religion, science, or social change. The lesson here for Christians and spiritual seekers alike is that just because an idea is opposed, it does not make it wrong. The truth is often contested by those who fear change or who have vested interests in maintaining the status quo. In conclusion, Catholics and spiritual seekers alike can learn from Mary Magdalene's story in profound ways. We are reminded to question the status quo and seek the truth, to look within ourselves for spiritual awakening, and to remember that truth, no matter how revolutionary, will always face opposition. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. By embracing these lessons, we can develop a deeper, more authentic relationship with our faith and with the divine. Lesson for Christians: the truth will always face opposition, but it cannot be buried forever. Final thoughts. What does Mary Magdalene teach us about faith? Faith is not just about following, it's about discovering. Spirituality is not external, it is within you. Truth can be hidden, but never destroyed. Have we forgotten an essential part of Jesus' teachings? Mary Magdalene's story is still here, waiting for those who are ready to listen. Conclusion: is it time to recognize the truth? Mary Magdalene is one of the most misunderstood figures in Christian history. From being a devoted disciple and the first witness of Jesus' resurrection, she was later transformed into a sinner, falsely accused for centuries. But the question is, why? How many times has history distorted the truth to serve a particular power structure? How many stories have been rewritten to preserve a social order that some wish to maintain? And more importantly, are we still living in a world that continues to conceal the truth? Truth cannot be buried forever. Despite being suppressed for centuries, the true image of Mary Magdalene is gradually coming to light. Modern research, archaeological discoveries, and re-examinations of ancient texts reveal that she was not the sinful woman the church once depicted. Instead, she was a significant figure, a faithful disciple, and possibly one of the few who truly understood Jesus' teachings. But is Mary Magdalene the only victim of historical suppression? Or are there many other truths hidden simply because they do not fit the existing power structures? Looking back at history, we see that people and progressive ideas have often been buried simply because they challenged societal norms. But truth has a mysterious power. It can be suppressed, but it can never be completely erased. Mary Magdalene, a symbol of the search for truth. The story of Mary Magdalene is not just about a woman in Christian history. She is a symbol for all those who seek truth, break through prejudices, and pursue spiritual enlightenment. She is a symbol of courage, standing firm in her beliefs despite opposition. She is a symbol of awakening, realizing that spirituality is not just in religious rituals, but in the heart of every individual. She is a symbol of forgotten voices, representing those who carried profound truths but were ignored by society. So, are we repeating the mistakes of the past? Are we ignoring truths that could reshape our understanding of faith and spirituality? And most importantly, Is it time we start listening to the voices that history has buried? Thank you for watching this video. We hope that the story of Mary Magdalene has given you a more objective, truthful, and insightful perspective on this extraordinary woman. We would love to hear your thoughts and improve our content with your feedback. What do you think about Mary Magdalene? Do you believe that she was trusted by Jesus far more than what the mainstream Bible suggests? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss our upcoming videos on history, religion, and spirituality.